your holiday shop activities this winter, we need to make sure that you know what a prototype is. Now, prototypes are actually one of our science standards. So as we're talking about prototypes, be thinking about how we can tie prototypes in with holiday shop. Okay, because we've been talking a lot about making products for our holiday shop to sell at the holiday shop. So be thinking about how you want to tie those prototypes in with our holiday shop. So, this is our lesson over prototypes. If you look at this picture, I found this really neat picture of a car. This is a car. If you look at the driver's side, what do you notice? What do you notice, Erica? She's not sitting in the driver's seat. What?
She must be in England.
Maybe she's in England. Actually, this is a sketch of a prototype for a car that drives itself. So this is actually a car that's being designed right now, which I thought was very interesting. So as we are talking, be thinking about how the drawing of the car would fit into our prototype process. So our goal for this lesson is students will create their own prototypes using the engineering process. So you might be asking yourself, what is the engineering process? Well, the first page in your green science folder is the engineering design process. It has question marks on it, so you should be on the first page. The first step in the engineering process is identifying the problem. Okay? When we're talking about the engineering process, we talk a lot about a problem. For holiday shop, our problem would probably be something along the lines of how can we design products that people might want to buy. Okay? You can come up with whatever problem it is you want. Maybe your prototype is going to solve a problem for somebody that occurs during the holidays. You get to decide that. So you need to pick your own problem as we go through for what your prototype is going to solve. Then you're going to do some research. You're going to look and you're going to find, does this product already exist? Is it a product that I might be able to adapt a little bit off of something that already exists? What am I going to need for this product? Is this product going to be worth money? So if we make it, will we be able to earn a profit? These are all things that you're going to have to look up and find out during your research. Then you're going to brainstorm ideas and solutions. So after you're done researching that and thinking about researching your problem and thinking about it, you're going to start brainstorming, how can I solve this problem? What are some ways that we can solve it? How can I solve, let's see, what's a common winter holiday problem that people have? What's a common problem, Brianna? Ornaments. So what is a problem that might arise with ornaments? Can anybody help Brianna out? She's got a really good problem, I think, in the potential. Dathan, what do you think?
If they break.
A breaking. Ornaments breaking. So maybe she thinks that that's a big problem. She's going to do some research and maybe she brainstorms ideas and solutions. How can I keep ornaments from breaking? How can I design an ornament that isn't going to break? Then she draws her design. So she's going to sketch that design out. A lot like our drawing here. So this is part of our engineering process. You need to draw it out. What is it going to look like? As you go, does it have to look like your original drawing? No, you can tweak it as you go. But you want to make sure that you're drawing it out so that you have some kind of an idea. Then you're going to build a prototype. Now, a prototype, you've heard us talk about that word a lot this quarter, right? A prototype is the first working model. So it is a model that can work and can function, but it's not necessarily ready to go out to consumers yet. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Finally, you test the prototype. So whatever that prototype is going to do, let's stick with Brianna's great example of an ornament that can't break. So what is she going to do to test whether or not that ornament can break? Talia?
Drop it.
She'll drop it and she'll see, does this ornament work? Is it going to break? Then maybe her first prototype, she drops it and it shatters all over the floor. So then maybe she needs to go back and brainstorm new ideas and solutions and draw the next design and create a new prototype. So the design process is not linear. It doesn't go down straight. You get to go up and work around as you go, like our writing process. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Evaluate and redesign. So this is the part that I'm talking to you about when you test your prototype. After I've tested it, I need to make sure, is this something that is going to work? If it's not, then I need to redesign it. If it is, can I make it better? Okay, we always can make something a little bit better. All right, what is an engineer? In your packet, I'd like for you to open up and look at the article, What Do Engineers Do? Do you see this article? Okay.
The first thing that I am going to
All right. Your article, What Do Engineers Do? Technology issues. Your article, What Do Engineers Do? I really like because not only does it describe to you what an engineer does, but it also describes different types of engineers. Did you know that there are different types of engineers?
Yes.
Okay, what's a type of engineer that you know of, Corey?
One of the types of engineers is actually a mechanic because they do work on what engineers made back in the past, like cars. So they are a type of engineer.
Okay, great, cool, yes. A computer engineer. Wyatt? Electrical engineer. So let's go through and we're going to talk about what do engineers do. As I talk, I want you to be using your pencil with me, please, because we're going to be taking some notes over what it is we're reading. So I'm going to underline this title, What Do Engineers Do? What do you think the main idea of my article is going to be about so far? What do you think this article is going to mostly be about? Alexis.
What engineers do.
What engineers do. So let's go ahead and we're going to read it together. I'm going to look and I see that this is the first paragraph, so I'm going to number it number 1 and circle a number next to it. The career that deals with designing materials, structures, products, and processes is known as engineering. Women and men in this field are known as engineers, not to be confused with the people who operate trains. Oh, I like that because they kind of explain the word to me. And then, since this sounds like it might be kind of a multiple meaning word, they tell me it's not the person who runs the train, who operates a train. It's a person who designs materials, structures, products, and processes. Some of the main types of engineers, as well as what they design, are listed in the chart below. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to circle this and I'm going to write number 2. No matter what branch of engineering they are in, all engineers follow certain steps to design materials, like plastics, structures, like bridges, products, like tires, or processes, like assembly lines. Together, these steps are known as the design process. Hey, I'm going to underline that because I recognize that from our discussion over the engineering design process. By working through these steps, engineers increase their odds that their concepts will work when built. So what were those 2 paragraphs mostly about? What we just read, what were they mostly about, Talia?
What engineers do and how they build in the process.
Okay, so what engineers do. This was mostly about what engineers do. Which is kind of funny because isn't that the title of our article? Yeah. So let's look at the types of engineers. I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to take out my highlighter and I'm going to highlight types of engineers and examples of what they design. I love that it includes examples for me because that always helps me understand a little bit more what somebody's talking about when they give me examples. A civil engineer. A civil engineer designs bridges, highways, stadiums, airports, water and sewer systems, and racetracks. That's pretty cool. An electrical engineer. Power grids, computers and parts, cell phones, video game components, and lighting. It sounds like some of us at our JA BizTown job at Citizens Energy may end up being somewhat of electrical engineers based on what this is talking about. A mechanical engineer. Things that move, engines, motors, toys, tools, robot structures, space exploration vehicles. So mechanical engineers do a lot with things that move. This is what Corey was talking about earlier. A chemical engineer. Plants and machinery for making plastics, paints, medicines, fuels, and dyes. An industrial engineer. Processes for making things, plant layouts, assembly lines, efficient workspaces. So they're more so about the process. I'm going to go ahead and box the word processes so that I know the difference between an industrial engineer and all of the other engineers, because the other ones seem to have something that they make that's real, and an industrial engineer seems to make more of a step-by-step kind of process. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Aerospace engineer. Airplanes, helicopters, spacecrafts, missiles, and satellites. So they make things that kind of go up into the air, it sounds like, right? All right. What kind of engineer do you think we're going to be as we're designing these different prototypes for Holiday Shop? What do you think? I'd like for you to take a moment and talk with your groups. What kind of engineer do you think we're going to be?
I think we would mainly be making civil. We're making our own things, and it says
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so what did you decide? I heard a lot of really good discussion and a lot of people going back into the text and providing evidence for what it was that they were saying. I love that. I love when some of us pull examples that the text has given us to help us come up with what we're saying. Wyatt?
I think it would be a mechanical engineer because we're building products.
So you think it would be a mechanical engineer because you're building your products. What does the text say that proves what you're saying?
It says that things that move, engines, motors, toys, tools, robot structures, space exploration.
Okay, all right. Corey?
Me and Alexis both agree that it's kind of in the middle of industrial and engineers, so it's kind of like both of them
Okay.
together.
Okay. So maybe it kind of depends on what it is we decide to make, what product it is that we decide to make. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to continue to read this article. This one kind of talks a little bit more about the steps of the design process, what we've already talked about with the first one. So I'm just going to kind of go over. If we look through this article, what I really love about it is, what do you notice? What do you notice about the back of this article? What do you notice? Do you notice anything that we've already learned about? Sam?
Design process.
It is. It's talking about the design process. What else? What else do you notice? I love this. It's so neat, and we learned about it at the very beginning of the year. Jessica? There are nonfiction text features. I love it. And what is one of the nonfiction text features that you notice in this article? They're so helpful. What's one of the nonfiction text features you notice? Let's see. I know you know, Ethan. The pen points. Yes, we have these pen points. And what are these called right here? This right here. I know you know. Talon? Yes, they are our subtitles or subheadings. Definitely. These are our headings. Identify a problem or challenge. Design a solution or product. Implement a proposed design. Evaluate a completed design or product. Communicate the process. So what do you think these paragraphs are mostly going to be about underneath each of these subheadings? Yes.
The process and how to do it.
So each step of the process and how you do it. I love that, Talia. Thank you. All right, what I would like for you to do with your group, I'd like for us to go around in our group and take turns reading. I'd like for you to read this, and we're going to come together and we're going to talk about what each paragraph is mostly about. All right? Go ahead and begin.
What is the problem you are trying to solve? What are the constraints? What is the problem you are trying to solve? What are the constraints? In other words, are there certain size, weight, time, or budget limitation of design? Are the issue or environment weight, space, materials, or better safety, after you find out all you can about the challenge, you need to keep in mind brainstorm several